can I say balls to the wall? Like, it's just like.
Hey, I'm Alison Foreman.
I'm Chauncey K. Robinson, and I'm a Tomato Meter approved critic. Today on Critical Thinking, we're talking about TV shows that got made into movies.
So the Peaky Blinders movie is finally hitting theaters, and it's time for us to talk about TV shows that became movies and maybe became TV shows again.
You live in a house haunted with ghosts of people who died because of you.
There are so many TV shows that created universes that people loved so much that they wanted to see them in movies, but that ultimately created kind of this bizarre cottage industry where we're always getting a film, a TV show, a spin-off, a web series of every different format in every single universe.
What's baked in there is the love from the audience. So it goes beyond genres, whether it's sci-fi, drama, animated comedy in general.
It's more than you can wrap your head around, but it's also kind of an embarrassment of riches.
At the end of the day, people want to see the show that they love on the big screen.
British crime drama, great hats. Sure, I don't mind that Peaky Blinders is coming back. I'm just kind of surprised that we're still talking about it. There's a weird thing about certain shows that feel like they need that capstone send-off, where if you weren't really invested at the time that it went off the air, it's a little hard to get yourself back into it. But at the same time, if somebody told me there was going to be a Game of Thrones movie in theaters, I would definitely go.
Everybody stay calm, because this man, ladies and gentlemen, is Tommy Shelby.
Who the f*** is Tommy Shelby?
It's almost impossible to pick my top 5 favorites. If I could only go for a few, I mean, I'd have to talk about the Rugrats movie. I would have to talk about James Gunn's live-action Scooby-Doo. Honestly, I'd probably talk about Pokemon again. Sex and the City every day. We're going onto TV, into theaters, back to TV, canceled.
So my list is predominantly animated comedies and animated shows, mainly because I think the animation medium to tell stories is so flexible, and I've always been in love with it since, well, a child watching cartoons, but also in the sense of looking at other shows and how they tell these different stories, whether they're more mature or for children or a mixed audience.
Animated TV shows are weirdly easy to end up taking to the big screen, even if the style changes a bunch. Just look at SpongeBob SquarePants. He's back in theaters in 2026 with The Flying Dutchman, and he looks different than he did on TV, but so many of those little symbols and styles, we just want to spend more time with them, and it's a nice excuse to go to the theaters and be in that type of environment. It's easy to replicate.
One of my favorites is the Simpsons movie, but let's talk about the show first.
I feel like you kind of gotta pour it out. The Simpsons movie is still one of the greatest cartoons ever put in theaters of all time.
I love it. It's the best show I've known. I'm pretty sure The Simpsons is older than me, and it's just one of those shows that has stood the test of time. I'm one of those people who actually do believe The Simpsons can predict the future.
As you know, we've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump.
Or that they're very good at being able to be a commentary on society and reflect that in their storytelling in such a funny and relatable way, but also smart and witty. And I have been one of the biggest fans of the Treehouse of Horror specials that they have as a horror girl myself. And I just think The Simpsons always tell a good story, but in a way that you can enjoy the comedy, but also be like, that's smart, they get it. And they've been getting it for decades. Need to happen. Does it need to happen? Yes, it needed to happen. I think the movie needed to happen because when you have this cultural phenomenon, which is The Simpsons, it needed to go on a bigger screen. And even though there's a joke at the very beginning of the movie of Homer getting up during the in-movie story and saying, why would anyone pay to watch a movie of something you can see on TV for free? It just shows just how self-aware The Simpsons are, but still able to put together such a grand story that encapsulates what Springfield and The Simpsons is, but also on a bigger scale for a wider audience. I think The Simpsons forces you to be like, pay attention to this story still. Like, it still captures my attention anytime I watch it because there's just things you don't want to miss. There's a few things that are different in the film because, well, it had a lot more money behind it because of the movie. So the animation is even on a higher level than what you would sometimes get in the the regular weekly episodes, which makes it look even better. And I think some of the things they were able to do in terms of the traveling to different locations outside of Springfield, a bit more going deeper into some of the longer jokes. And yeah, they got to cuss a little bit. I think the fact that the movie wasn't the end of the series just shows how much The Simpsons still resonates. Not saying that TV shows that end with the movie don't resonate, but I think it just shows that, particularly with The Simpsons, that they still have stories to tell, even though it's been over 30-something odd years that it's been on.
Excellent. Chauncey knows. Chauncey knows. That and South Park. There's a long, big, uncut. It's something. It's that one. Wow, incredible. Incredible.
I think South Park, Bigger, Longer, Uncut, allowed the creators and writers behind South Park to just go, can I say balls to the wall? Like, it's just like,
This is gonna be the best movie ever! Yay!
they took on a lot of themes and topics in a way that they could sometimes do in their episodes, but this time they got to do it just on an even higher level. I'm pretty sure it broke records for having the most cuss words in a movie at that time, and it definitely earned that title, but not like gratuitously, but it made sense for the story.
Eric, did you just say the F word?
Did he say the S word?
Young man, did you just say the Q word?
Yeah, Sex and the City. We did not respect her enough. So I was young enough that when the Sex and the City movie hit theaters, I wasn't in a position to judge whether or not it made sense to do that. It just seemed inevitable. Sex and the City was such a big deal in terms of being this kind of niche, very sexy thing that really appealed to a wide audience, that allowed people into a universe that was full of intrigue, and it was a little, edgy, but it also had a level of empowerment to it that made it feel like it was some type of institution. But when it hit theaters, it became something that made them feel like a global phenomenon, at least for me as a kid. HBO always kind of seemed like under the cover of night, but when the girls were in theaters, that felt like the level of respect they deserved. So there were two Sex and the City movies. The first Sex and the City movie is responsible for, bar none, one of the best Sex and the City scenes of all time. The first Sex and the City movie involves Big, he's the big love interest for Carrie Bradshaw, leaving her at the altar. She ends up confronting him in the middle of a Manhattan street, beating him with a bouquet. She's got a bird in her hair, and she keeps saying, I knew you'd do this, I knew you'd do this. And then all of her friends help her get into her limo and drive off and try to recover from that experience. It's flawless, incredible. Women's rage personified. It's everything. The second movie, they go to Abu Dhabi and they make like a lot of poop jokes. That's like mostly what they do there. But they see Samantha Jones take on international law too, so that's fun. And that brings us to HBO Max or David Zaslav's Fever Dream, whatever you want to call it. The return of Sex and the City to small screens in the spinoff show And Just Like That was really bumpy. We had highs and lows with Sarah Ramirez as Che and Sarah Ramirez as Che. But ultimately, And Just Like That ended up going out on a completely bizarre note with no proper finale that ultimately felt like a sign of disrespect to the whole franchise. In some ways, you kind of wish we'd left ourselves in Abu Dhabi, Rugrats Go to Paris, one of life's great joys.
I'm a big X-Files fan. I always shipped Mulder and Scully.
Still waiting on that Rick and Morty movie.
Batman Mask of the Phantasm is one of my favorite Batman movies.
Kind of shocked that we haven't gotten the Community movie we were promised, right? 6 seasons in a movie. We did get the Firefly movie, though.
I wonder if someone's gonna say the Addams Family.
Star Trek. We've had a good Veronica Mars movie. Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. David Lynch, come on.
Scooby-Doo Zombie Island is one of my fave Scooby-Doo movies.
The James Gunn live-action Scooby-Doos did an incredible job of paying homage not just to the original TV series, but the original animated feature films, which have their own special spot in Hanna-Barbera history.
Muppets Christmas Carol.
The Muppets continue to be kind of the gift that keeps on giving in terms of lovable, small screen felt creations. There's a Piggy movie coming out, right? With Jennifer Lawrence and Emma Stone. Brady Bunch movie, classic.
The real Brady Bunch actually had movies, but then you had the Brady Bunch comedy parody of it as well.
Oh, Mystery Science Theater 2000. There's a movie?
There's just so many. There are so many ways that you can go into different genres because there's so many different TV shows out there.
When I was on Rotten Tomatoes last time, we were talking about video game adaptations. We were talking about the kind of varied degree of Pokemon success on the feature front. And it's interesting because so many adaptations of TV shows were marketed more like merchandise because they were supposed to be VHS copies you could take home, DVD copies you could take home. They themselves were collectibles. But when it comes to Pokemon, there were a couple of major theatrical releases that were legitimately some of the best beats in the entire animated universe.
I think the Pokemon series and the movies are like cultural phenomenons. And I definitely always try to learn the lyrics to the opening song.
Dude, do you know what we didn't talk about? This actually legitimately we 100% should talk about. Twilight Zone movie. The Twilight Zone movie is one of the most fascinating and important film productions of all time, obviously based on the Twilight Zone TV show, also resulted in one of the most tragic and extreme on-set accidents of all time, and also really changed the relationship of a lot of people who worked on it together. Rather famously, Steven Spielberg and Joe Dante both worked on that movie together. They directed different segments and then bonded together after that, making Gremlins, which has a shout out to Twilight Zone the movie in the background if you look for it.
You've just crossed over into the Twilight Zone.
Those were some of our favorite TV to film adaptations.
Let us know yours in the comments. And also let us know which TV shows you think should be made into movies.
I'm sorry, can I do one more? Because I just thought about this. The Lizzie McGuire movie! That's incredible! You get to see Hilary Duff sing to herself in a black wig, and she got the weird kind of pants skirt mermaid situation going on. That was formative for me, fashionably.